All right, so we're going to solve this equation. 4 times the quantity y plus 8 equals 2y plus 22. So to solve this equation, usually we try to get the y's on the same side. What I mean by same side is there's a left side and the right side. So I usually have my students draw that line. Over here on the right side, we have this 4 outside the parentheses, so we're going to distribute that 4, meaning we're going to take that 4 and multiply it to the y and to this 8 to simplify. So we'll end up with 4y plus 32, and then bring down the rest of the equation. So the equal sign, the 2y plus 22. Now take a look at both sides, and both sides cannot be simplified. We have a 4y and a 32 over here, so we have a y term and a number term, so we can't combine those. And on the right side we have a y term and a number term. We cannot combine those. So what we're going to do is combine on the different sides right here, because I have a 2y on the right side and a 4y on the left. I usually choose to cancel the one that's smaller, so that means this 2y. So I'm going to cancel that by subtracting the whole term. So subtracting 2y. So that'll cancel that whole thing out. But again, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2y on the left side. So I end up with 2y here, bring down the plus 32, the equal sign, and bring down the 22. So now I'm left with a two-step equation where I can go ahead and start solving for y, getting y by itself. So I have this plus 32, so I want to cancel that addition of 32 by subtracting 32. And once again, whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side, so I'm subtracting 32. So I get left with 2y equals. Well, here I can rewrite this so it looks normal. So 32 and 22, and I'm subtracting. So that's going to give me 10. And it's going to be a negative 10 because 32 is larger or has a greater absolute value than positive 22. And my last step is divide by 2 to both sides so that my y can be by itself. And negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So this is our answer right there. All right, so here's our second equation right here. 2 times the quantity x minus 4 equals 8x plus 34. So I'm going to look at both sides of the equations to see if there's anything I can simplify. So again, there's that left side and the right side. So over here, we have this 2 outside the parentheses, so I'm going to distribute, meaning multiply the 2 times the x and the 2 times the 4. So I get 2 times x is 2x, bring down the minus sign, 2 times 4 is 8, then bring down the rest, the equal sign, the 8x, and the plus 34. So once again, there's no more ways I could simplify each side separately, so I'm going to start bringing things together. So I have an x term on the left and an x term on the right. Just like last time, I choose to cancel the x term that is smaller. So the 2x is smaller than the 8x, so I am going to subtract 2x over here. So it's gone, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So I'm subtracting the 2x from the 8x, leaving me with 6x. And then bring down everything. So I have this minus 8 on the left, bring down the equal sign, bring down the plus 34. So now I have my two-step equation, and I want to isolate for x. So I am going to cancel out the number term right there, that 34. So since it's plus 34, I'm going to subtract 34. Okay, so whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And once again, here's a point where students get mixed up. I have subtract 34. So if I had an 8, if this was a positive 8, I would just subtract 8 and 34. But since this is a negative 8, that means I'm going to do the opposite, which is add those two numbers together. So I'm going to add negative 34 and negative 8, and that gives me a negative 42. So bring down the equal sign, bring down my 6x, and now I have my last step, which is to divide by 6 to get my x by itself. And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So negative 42 divided by positive 6 is a negative 7. And there is my answer, x equals negative 7.